For the first time in more than 25 years, the FDA has approved a new pain medication. It's called suzetrigine, or Journevax. Just for context, the last pain medication approved was Celebrex, and that was back in 1998. So no surprise, we get a lot of questions about this, like this one from Allie in Marin County, California. She asks, will it make you loopy like the other medications? I can't take any pain meds because I feel like I'm on another planet. We get a lot of questions like this, Allie. So first things first. The most common side effects in the clinical trials with this medication were itching, muscle spasms, and rash. Now, to be fair, as more and more people take the medication, we may hear about different side effects that emerge. But based on what we know so far, this medication doesn't really give people that euphoric feeling that you get with opioids, for example. That's probably because of how this drug works. Opioids, which have been prescribed to many people for pain, they sort of work by dulling the sensation of pain in the brain. The brain is where pain is processed. That's why people get that sort of loopy feeling. But this new medication seems to actually work at the site of pain, where the pain is initially being processed, and it changes how the pain signals from there are actually transmitted to the brain. I also got to tell you something interesting, Allie. The story of how researchers were inspired to develop a drug like this is really fascinating. It happened 25 years ago after they learned about a family of firewalkers in Pakistan who could walk over hot coals without flinching. Importantly, they could feel the sensation of the coals, they could even feel the heat of the coals, but they could not feel the pain. Turned out this family lacked a gene that allowed for pain signals, and by recreating the effect of that gene, they were able to develop suzetrigine. Pretty amazing story. Now, doctors stress that this medication might not be the right drug for everyone or for every type of pain. It costs about $15 per pill. It's supposed to take it every 12 hours as needed. But I'll tell you, it certainly seems like a welcome addition to the toolbox for treating pain.
There is a new type of pain medication on the market that could be life-changing for millions of Americans. Yesterday, we told you about it and asked you to submit your questions about this new drug. And now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is back with some answers for you. Thank you for being back, Sanjay. So let's jump right into it. Stephanie from Minnesota submitted this question and asks, how is this new drug any different from other prescription pain medication? And this gets to the crux of why it could be so life-changing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big deal in the world of pain medications because it is essentially representing a totally different class of pain medications. You know, you typically think of anti-inflammatories or opioids or sometimes even things like antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications. This works in a very different way. You know, for opioids, for example, the way, the brain is processing all pain. So opioids in many ways work by sort of dulling the sensation of pain in the brain, and that's why people often feel loopy or feel a little off when they're taking opioids. The way that this medication works is actually more at the site of pain where the pain is initially being processed, and it changes the way that those pain signals are then transmitted to the brain. So it's very different than what else is out there, and as a result, I think it's going to be a good option for people. We haven't had a new pain medication approved, Kate, in more than 25 years in the United States. So I think that's part of the reason there's excitement. It's 50 milligrams every 12 hours when you're in pain. It's not cheap, cost over $15 per pill. We'll see how insurance handles that. But this is sort of emerging even as we speak, Kate.
Which leads to another question of what that means in terms of people who have an allergy to other pain meds like aspirin. We have one viewer question. Susan had asked this question, if she has an allergy to aspirin and other pain meds like that, what does that mean for Journevax?
Well, when you have pain medications, even though they're all called pain medications, they can be in totally different classes, work by different mechanisms. So I don't know specifically what the allergy is. If it's more an allergy to anti-inflammatories,
right.
This is not an anti-inflammatory. So it's not likely you would have an allergy to this. You obviously want to talk to your doctor about that. But even if you have cholesterol-lowering medications, there can be different classes of those, and some people may be allergic to one or not tolerate one, but be okay with the other. It's probably going to be the same with this pain medication. The biggest sort of substitute that it's going to probably provide for is for opioids. People who would have otherwise taken opioids, foot pain, abdominal pain, whatever it might be, they may be able to take this medication instead.
And thank God for that. to be able to phase out opioids. And I mean, first new pain med in 25 years is pretty mind-boggling, considering all the progress we have in all sorts of drug science. But this is understandably so, and why we ask you so many questions about it. This is a big deal. It's good to see you, Sanjay.